Hello everyone, DonTheCrown here, and today I want to talk about a topic in the upcoming season that we haven't really seen a lot of discussion about, and that is blessing generation, because it's kind of gotten massively nerfed for every single class, except for the Theas that generate their own blessings. And the reason I say it got massively nerfed is because candles have been completely removed, which means no more blessing generation candles. Also, this node here in the Elementalist tree, the 8% chance to gain Tenacity and Agility blessings when receiving a Focus blessing has been removed from the game. This is something I didn't see in the patch notes. I didn't really know until somebody in chat pointed it out to me, but this is what the tree looks like on the TLIDB. And we can see that this node here doesn't exist here anymore. And they pretty much have changed the structure of the tree a little bit to add some new points. But for the most part, you're not going to be able to generate blessings this way anymore, which is a little bit crazy because a lot of builds do require that. So let's talk about the ways that you can generate blessings. So first off, we'll be looking at Tenacity blessings. There are 4 different ways besides the main talent, and each one of these blessings has a main talent that's going to give you the ability to generate the blessing and also increase your maximum of it by 1. And so Tenacity blessings, we can get them from a chance when you take damage. This is a new minor talent, so you can probably get this up to 75% chance to gain 1 stack when you take damage. It does have an interval of 1 second, and so you're not really like you'd have to take damage in order to gain the blessings. So unless you're doing some sort of self-damaging build, that's going to be not very consistent to keep up. The second one gives you Tenacity blessing when you're at full life. If you're playing some build that is a life focused build, or that is your primary defensive layer, and you are not conserving or reserving your life, then that's going to be totally fine. This is going to be a great way to constantly just generate Tenacity blessings for you. Pretty easy to do. Now, the next one here, 1 stacks Tenacity every 1 second. If you blocked recently, I think this one is also very solid. Kind of similar here to the take or chance to generate a blessing when you take damage, except for this kind of like stays up for 4 seconds after you block. A lot of end game builds do stack block, so I could see this being something that's very popular. This is also in the Sentinel tree, which I think is very popular. And the Sentinel tree, or not popular per se, but for pretty powerful, because the Last Stand main talent here can give you up to 90% damage. The issue with this is it sets your block ratio to 0. And what this means is that when you actually do block, you don't reduce the damage by anything. And so you pretty much can still generate Tenacity blessings from this, but you are not going to be reducing the damage. Lastly, you can also get Tenacity blessings while having a barrier. There's a lot of like barrier builds that could potentially be out there right now, or just builds that can get a barrier somehow, some way. This could be a thing for sure. For focus blessings, we have 3 options outside of the main talent. Activating Spell Burst. This is a Magister tree. Pretty much every single Bing 2 is going to have this because they already want to be in Magister. The 100% chance to gain a stack of Focus Blessing when inflicting damage on a frostbitten enemy. This is really easy to get. Generally, you just have to do any cold damage and hit an enemy, and it'll be frostbitten. So pretty easy to generate Focus Blessings off of that. You can also get 1 Focus Blessing when you're reaping. A lot of damage over time builds will be able to pop off with that. Now, the real difficult one, though, is going to be Agility blessing here. And Agility blessing, basically, the reason this is going to be difficult is because there's only 2 ways to generate. 1, you have to use a mobility skill, or 2, you have a 100% chance when you deal a critical strike. And these are pretty much your only real options here. Now, there's a lot of builds that maybe don't spam their mobility skill or really move around with the mobility skill, like run speed style builds. So this will not be a thing, which means that if you're not a crit based build, like you're doing some sort of damage over time, then Agility blessings might just not be in the cards for you for your build coming up, which does kind of suck because this does give you attack and cast speed and additional damage, and just something that kind of people take for granted for the most part in their build, and you're just not going to be able to get it anymore, or it's going to be more difficult. Now, there are some other ways to potentially get some blessings into your build. Things like the Fury Heart, Heart of Rock, and Heart of Magic are all kind of like relatively new rings that are basically give you the ability to generate these different blessings. We also do have the new Tranquil Stir. I think this is a belt, which gives you 1 to 2 stacks of a random blessing whenever you activate spell burst. So Bing 2 could potentially use this early on to generate. I don't really think that this belt's very good in the first place though, so probably won't see people using this, but it is a way to generate blessings. We also do have Kismets that have the ability to generate blessings, and these are single Kismet, so you can just have it just by itself. And so 1 stack of Tenacity Blessing whenever you regain life or energy shield. You can also get a stack of Agility Blessing whenever you're moving. So this one's probably gonna be quite popular for builds that can't get crits or don't use a mobility skill. Civet is probably gonna be the best way to generate Agility Blessings for them. And then Focus Blessing whenever you use a non-main skill. This one probably will be potentially pretty popular as well. The Unholy Grail does make it so that whenever you use a restoration skill, you get 4 stacks of random blessing with less restoration duration. I don't really see this as being a popular thing, but it is another option. And that's pretty much it. I did want to kind of bring this to the forefront of the community's mind as you're thinking about the build and stuff you have going on, because this wasn't really in the patch notes and it wasn't really something that was apparently obvious without looking at TLIDB. And so thankfully we've gotten a little bit extra time here to plan a whole week, and hopefully you can use that to make your build a little bit better. If you have any questions, come by the stream, and thank you very much.